picture this. You're sitting at your desk, and you've got this giant glowing screen right in front of you.
Yeah.
And it is projecting like the absolute best version of your future. You're up on a stage, maybe giving a keynote to a packed
Oh,
room.
now.
Yeah, or you're running this wildly successful business, you're traveling the world, you're watching this, and you are just completely pumped.
Right. You're totally ready to go.
Exactly. So you go to click start on this incredible life, but the moment you do, that giant screen shrinks down into this tiny spinning loading icon.
Well, I know that icon.
Right. And it just says starting.
Yeah.
So you wait, you check your phone, you look back up, and now it says still starting.
It's just endless loading.
Endless.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your actual physical notebook sitting right there on the desk, it is completely blank, untouched.
That is just painfully relatable.
It really is. Welcome to today's custom-tailored deep dive, where we are looking directly at you and this frustratingly common phenomenon called lazy ambition.
It is such a brilliant visual metaphor because it captures this very specific, agonizing kind of paralysis.
Yeah.
Because the core contradiction we are dealing with today is that lazy, ambitious people, they aren't actually lazy.
Wait, really? Because the word lazy is right there in the name.
I know. But if you look at their daily lives, I mean, they're often highly functional, really high-achieving people.
Okay, that makes sense.
They hit their deadlines at work. They manage their families. They, show up for their friends. They are entirely capable of grinding out really difficult tasks.
Right, they aren't just sitting on the couch all day doing nothing.
Exactly. But when it comes to their own personal, self-directed dreams, the machinery just grinds to a complete halt.
Yeah, the personal stuff just gets pushed aside.
They spend hours planning, researching, organizing, watching endless tutorials.
Oh, the YouTube tutorial.
Right, and completely avoiding the one actual action that would, move their dream forward.
The animation we are exploring today perfectly captures this pain point. There's this character, Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
He's this totally relatable guy. Short, dark hair, cream t-shirt, dark green jacket, white sneakers. And we watch him walking down this hallway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the doors are labeled with these grand, inspiring words like ideas, goals, plans, potential.
Sounds great on paper.
It does, but when he actually opens them, it is just a graveyard of half starts.
Oh, man.
Like a brilliant business idea abandoned on a whiteboard,
Sure.
an expensive online course he paid for but never clicked past the intro video.
We've all been there.
And my personal nightmare, the dreaded computer folder literally named Project Final 2.
That one hurts. It's funny for about 2 seconds, and then it is just deeply uncomfortable because it is so recognizable.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to figure out exactly why we get stuck in this massive gap between, thinking about our dreams and actually building them.
Yeah, to understand that gap, we really have to diagnose the psychological root of the problem.
Yeah.
Like, why do we actively choose the fantasy over the reality?
Right. Why is staring at the starting screen somehow better than just writing the first sentence in that blank notebook?
Well, in the video, there's this sequence where Alex is standing in a room with 2 doors.
Oh, yeah, the door scene.
Right. One is massive, ornate, beautifully decorated, and it has a sign that just reads, "I could."
Huge letters.
Exactly. And the other door is small, plain, entirely unimpressive, and it just says, "I did."
Right, and as he's standing there admiring the big door, the I could door, people keep walking up to him.
Tatting him on the back.
Yeah, they pat him on the back and say things like, you'd be really good at that, or you have so much potential.
The P word. Potential.
He just smiles, soaking all that validation in. But then, and this is the crazy part, he just walks away.
Yep.
He doesn't turn the handle on either door. He just leaves.
What's fascinating here is that potential is an incredibly comfortable place to live, as long as it remains purely hypothetical.
Because there's no risk.
Right. The human brain actually gets a massive dopamine hit from fake hypothetical scenarios.
Wait, really? Just from thinking about it?
Yeah. Neurologically, your brain isn't always great at distinguishing between vividly imagining a successful outcome and actually achieving it.
That is wild.
So when you daydream about writing a bestseller, your brain releases dopamine. You get the emotional reward of success without doing any of the actual work.
Wow, so you're basically tricking yourself.
Exactly. But more importantly, if you never open that I did door, if you never actually try to write the book or launch the business, you never have to face reality.
Because reality means you might fail?
Precisely. If you never try, you never have to confront the possibility that you might only be average.
Oh, that is a tough pill to swallow.
It is. You never have to find out that it might take you 10 years of grueling work to actually get good at this thing.
Yeah.
By choosing inaction, you get to keep the perfect, unblemished version of your dream completely intact in your head.
So it's basically an ego protection mechanism.
Exactly. Your identity gets wrapped up in being the kind of person who could do something amazing.
Yeah.
Rather than, being a beginner who creates something flawed.
Which brings up the defense mechanisms we use to actually protect that identity.
Right, the saboteurs.
Yeah. So Alex finally gathers his courage and walks up to this giant button labeled First Step. But right as his hand gets close, these 3 little saboteur characters pop up.
Whispering in his ear.
Right, whispering all these doubts. You've got Fear, who holds up a rejection letter. You've got Comfort, who just points to a cozy sofa and a phone to scroll on.
The ultimate trap.
Totally. And then you have Perfection, who holds up this ridiculous, uncrossable checklist of like 47 different requirements Alex supposedly needs to meet before he is ready to press the button.
It's exhausting just looking at it.
But wait, I have to push back on this a little bit. I mean, isn't preparation actually a good thing? Like, it feels like packing a parachute before jumping. You don't just jump out of an airplane and hope you figure out the parachute on the way down, right? You want that gear packed, checked, double-checked before you leap.
It is a fair point, definitely.
Yeah.
But we have to distinguish between active preparation and productive procrastination.
Okay, productive procrastination.
Yes, you need a parachute. But if you spend 6 months standing inside the airplane, unpacking and repacking the exact same parachute.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Right. Reading 12 different books on the history of parachute folding and watching hours of YouTube videos of other people packing their parachutes.
You're not preparing anymore.
Exactly. You are no longer preparing. You are hiding.
You're just terrified of jumping.
Precisely. And this is where perfectionism masks itself as productivity on a neurological level.
How so?
Well, when you are endlessly researching or organizing, your brain's reward centers for problem solving light up.
So it feels good.
It tricks you into feeling like you are making progress, but you are doing it in a way that doesn't trigger the amygdala, which is your brain's fear center, because there is no actual risk of public failure.
Wow.
Preparation is necessary, obviously.
Yeah.
But the trap is when preparing to begin becomes your full-time job.
It makes a lot of sense. The preparation feels like work, so we give ourselves a pass.
Exactly.
But if endless preparation is the internal excuse we use to avoid action, the animation also highlights how we build external walls, too.
Oh, the external walls are huge.
We use our actual life circumstances to justify staying safely in that planning phase.
And we construct those walls meticulously, don't we?
We really do. There is this visual of Alex sitting on the floor, and he starts pulling out these little sticky notes.
The sticky notes.
Yeah, and they say things like, no time, no money, no connections, not ready. And as he looks at them, they literally transform into giant brick walls.
The great visual.
They stack higher and higher, boxing him in completely until he is trapped in a tiny room made entirely of his own excuses.
Just completely stuck.
But then, right down at the bottom of these massive walls, he spots this tiny little door. And written on that door is the question, what can I do today?
That tiny door represents a massive cognitive shift. It is really the key to escaping the perfectionism trap.
How do you mean?
Well, we have to be clear here. Acknowledging a real limitation is entirely valid.
Sure.
Having a highly demanding job, having family responsibilities, dealing with a chronic illness, or, lacking funding, those are real, tangible limitations.
Absolutely.
But the trap is using those realities as blanket permission to just stop completely.
Because it shifts the blame off of us. Like, if I don't have venture capital funding, well, I guess I can't start the business. It's out of my hands.
Exactly. It absolves you of responsibility. The question you have to ask yourself isn't, how do I achieve the entire massive dream right now with these limitations?
Because that will just paralyze you.
Yes, that will always result in paralysis. The real question is, what is the smallest version of this dream that I can act on right now?
Right. So, if you can't quit your day job to launch a massive tech startup, okay. But can you spend 30 minutes after the kids go to sleep learning a new coding language?
Yes, exactly.
Or, if you don't have the capital to open a brick-and-mortar storefront, can you just talk to 5 potential customers on social media today to see if they even want your product?
Spot on. You have to shift your focus from the insurmountable macro to the achievable micro.
Macro to micro.
Right. And the reason you do this isn't just to cross something off a to-do list. It's because action generates an entirely different currency than planning does.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Action isn't just about making progress. Action is about gathering data.
Yes.
There is this brilliant fog metaphor in the video. Alex is staring out at this landscape labeled My Future, but it is completely covered in a thick, impenetrable fog.
You can't see a thing.
Nothing. He can't see a thing, so he just stands there. He stares at it, waiting for the fog to clear so he can figure out exactly which path to take.
But it doesn't clear.
No. The fog doesn't move. It's only when he physically takes a blind step forward into the unknown that the fog rolls back just a tiny bit, revealing the next few feet of ground.
It perfectly illustrates the fatal flaw in how the lazy, ambitious brain works.
Yeah.
We think we need perfect clarity before we make a move. We want the entire route mapped out.
We want guarantees.
Exactly.
Mm.
But in reality, clarity comes because we move. Action creates feedback loops.
Right.
The animation uses the example of starting a YouTube channel, which is incredibly pragmatic. Let's say you have two choices. Choice A. You spend 6 solid months researching the YouTube algorithm, finding the mathematically perfect niche, saving up for the best 4K camera, and learning, like, professional color grading software.
Which sounds like a lot of work.
It is. But then there's choice B. You grab the smartphone you already own, and you publish one terrible, poorly lit video this afternoon.
And choice B is actually the superior move.
100%.
Because that one terrible video gives you real, tangible information. You might realize halfway through that you actually hate video editing. Right.
Or you might realize you don't even like talking about the topic you spent 6 months researching.
Or you might realize you love it, but absolutely no one clicked on the video.
Which feels like a failure.
But it's not. And this is crucial. A lack of views isn't a failure. It is calibration data.
Calibration data.
I like that.
Every real attempt gives you physical feedback from the real world that just sitting in a room theorizing simply cannot provide.
It's like trying to perfectly map out a cross-country road trip in a completely dark room.
That's a great analogy.
Rather than just turning on your headlights and driving the first 10 miles to see what the road actually looks like. You can look at maps forever, but until you drive, you don't know if there's construction or a detour, if you even like driving.
That is a phenomenal way to frame it. You cannot calibrate a machine without running a test, and you cannot calibrate your life's direction without making an attempt.
Yep.
The bad first attempt is the feedback you need. Which naturally brings us to the mechanics of how we actually force ourselves to make that attempt when the project feels terrifyingly large.
Yes, the mechanics. Because knowing we need to take action and actually doing it, those are two very different things.
Completely different.
The video tackles this by talking about shrinking the mountain.
Right.
Alex is standing at the base of this terrifying, jagged peak labeled, "Become great at this." And he's just paralyzed, staring up at the clouds.
Overwhelmed.
But then the mountain morphs. It shrinks down into a simple staircase of tiny, almost embarrassingly small steps.
Embarrassingly small is the key here.
Yeah, the first step doesn't say master the skill, it just says 10 minutes. The next step says 1 page. The next one says 1 call.
There is deep neuroscience behind this visual.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. When you set a massive goal like, I'm going to write a novel, or I am going to get completely out of debt, your brain registers the sheer size of that task as a literal threat.
A threat, like a physical danger.
Yes. It triggers the amygdala, which is responsible for your fight, flight, or freeze response.
Oh, wow.
For most lazy, ambitious people, it triggers freeze, which outwardly looks like procrastination.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
Right. But when you shrink the mountain into an embarrassingly small step like, I am just going to open a Word document and write for 10 minutes, it flies completely under the amygdala's radar.
Because it's not scary.
Exactly. It isn't perceived as a threat. This allows your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical planning part of your brain, to actually engage and start the task.
So it totally tricks your own brain.
Exactly. The goal isn't to stay doing 10-minute steps for the rest of your life. The goal is simply to overcome the friction of starting.
Because once you're in motion, physics takes over.
Yes, continuing a task is infinitely easier than starting one from a dead stop.
But, getting into motion in the first place brings up this massive cultural misconception we all have about motivation.
The motivation myth.
Yes. There is a scene where Alex is literally sitting on the edge of his bed, just waiting. He's looking at his watch, waiting for this glowing, magical character called motivation to show up and inspire him to work.
And he waits a long time.
Hours go by. Nothing
Mm.
happens. Finally, Alex sighs, gets up without feeling even slightly motivated, opens his laptop